All right, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Adesewa Adesiji. I'm with the Department of Employment and Economic Development. I'm a workforce strategy consultant here in the metro area, and I want to thank you for joining us today. As you all know, DEED has declared April as Tech Month, and this is the first of two roundtables discussions during this month. So today's focus is going to be on raising awareness about the many opportunities for Minnesotans in all ages in tech careers. For audience members, including the media, if you have a question, please put it in the comments. If you're on Facebook Live or in chat, or if you're on Teams, and we'll ask roundtable participants to answer your questions as they come up. So now with that, I want to introduce Deputy Commissioner Hamse Warfa and Kevin McKinnon, who will give us some brief remarks to help set the stage for today's discussion.
Great, thanks, Adesewa. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hamse Warfa. I am the Deputy Commissioner for Workforce Development here at DEED. Excited to be a part of this important conversation. But I really first want to start off with recognizing the moment that we're in with the tragic, senseless killing of Dante Wright in Brooklyn Center. This has been a very tough week for all of us, and painful week for families and friends of Dante Wright. And so I just want to start with saying that, this is the kind of week where, it's okay not to be okay. And we all share the collective trauma and the re-traumatization of the senseless killings of young Black men in our state. And so it's important that we take a moment to acknowledge the moment. Secondly, as you know, April is Technology Workforce Month in Minnesota. Governor Walz acclaimed the month really to raise awareness and to break barriers as it relates to tech careers. I'm personally someone who's deeply interested both in my professional role, but also in my personal role as a technology founder of two companies, and most excited about the potential in addressing the inequities that exist in our state and in our country by creating opportunities and avenues for sectors like IT that provide family-sustaining wages. So it's really, really critical, not only for the prosperity of our state, the future of our economy, but important as it relates to, the One Minnesota Vision goal that Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan has laid out for our state. The number of tech-related jobs in our state is expected to grow faster than job growth compared to other occupations over the next decade. And so even in the midst of the pandemic, the shortage of people and talent in the tech industry has been accelerated more. So very excited that we will have in this conversation today and have esteemed guests and colleagues who will be participating in our conversation today. We're very fortunate to be the state that has over 11,000 people who are working in information technology occupation. That's about 3.8 of the total employment in our state, while the national state is about 3.4%. So clearly, this is an industry in demand. Clearly, this is an industry that will help individuals move to family-sustaining wages. If you look at the median hourly wage for IT occupations, it's $42 an hour in 2020. That's over $20 an hour higher than the median age for all other occupations. And so couldn't be more excited to be part of this conversation. And I would like to turn over to my colleague and friend, Deputy Commissioner McKinnon.
Well, thank you, Hamse, and thanks to all of you for joining us here today. My name is Kevin McKinnon. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Economic Development and Research here at DEED. Thank you, Hamse, for your comments on recognizing the moment that we're in. Celebrating Tech Month is obviously an important component of what we do, and thinking about the economy and the long-term growth here. You know, we're very fortunate that we have a wonderful base of technology and innovative businesses here in our state. And our goal is obviously to continue to grow that base and attract new. And in order to accommodate that growth and ensure that we have the infrastructure, and what I mean by that is the people, to allow that to happen, we're very focused on building that supply of talent. We also know that tomorrow's tech jobs will provide the great opportunities for young people with promising career opportunities. So we want to encourage companies on the cutting edge to establish themselves here, but also for those that are already here to continue to grow. There's a number of ways that we're participating in this from an economic development perspective, whether that be small business assistance, incentivizing investments in Minnesota startup companies through our Angel Tax Credit, or our newest initiative, which is called Launch Minnesota, building our innovation ecosystem and seeding small companies with grants related to this. We know that we need to be more intentional about our ecosystem to nurture its growth here in Minnesota. We also know that expanding access to reliable high-speed internet is a critical component of equal access all across the state. Our border-to-border broadband grant program helps do that, which is essential to businesses of all types, educators and healthcare all across the state. So we're also making sure that our incentive programs like the Minnesota Investment Fund and the Job Creation Fund attract and support businesses, many of which are in the technology sector. Once our businesses start here, we want them to grow here. And as such, these programs help with investment and job creation in our state. And to support this growth, we also need to make sure that we're developing the job training programs that help prepare our workers for careers in these exciting industries. We also know that existing jobs are changing, and we need to help our employers and their existing workforces adapt. Our Minnesota Job Skills Partnership Program is a great example of that, which partners employers and higher education institutions together with funding for new curriculum and training. But we're also piloting new approaches. Last year, we developed a pilot program to help small manufacturers that are seeking to automate train their existing workforce. As an example, we're currently seeking proposals to implement a pilot program to train young adults 18 to 30 who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color individuals in technology career pathways, and place them in permanent employment and at family-sustaining wages, as Hamse mentioned. So clearly, economic development and workforce development go hand in hand. Helping young people develop the right skills will help our tech businesses grow and thrive here in Minnesota. So thank you all for being here today, and look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Warfa and McKinnon. With that, I'd like to introduce our guests for the discussion today. And if I mispronounce your name, I do apologize. Lisa Schlosser is the Executive Director of Technovation Minnesota. It's a nonprofit that inspires and empowers girls to leverage technology to make an impact in their communities. Dan Akins is the co-founder and executive director of Mini Analytics, a nonprofit organization serving the data science and emerging technology community in Minnesota and the Midwest. We have Leona Martin, who is a workforce development specialist and youth service coordinator at the Career Force location in Minneapolis. Mitch DeJong, who is the chief technology officer at Design Ready Controls, is a manufacturer company based in Brooklyn Park. We have Ryan Weber, managing partner and co-founder of Great North Labs, an early stage venture fund based in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Nneka Abdullah, a program manager at the Office of Black Student Achievement at Minneapolis Public Schools. Yusuf Abdullah, principal of Henry High School in Minneapolis. Murray Freistenben, principal of North High School in Minneapolis. Kyle Bender, lead campus technology recruiter for Target. Sue Wallace, Vice President for Alumni Services and Community Engagement for CompTIA. We also have, let me see, she's not on here. From Fairview, Ann Gibson, who is representing Fairview. And we also have Andrew Peterson, who's a career readiness coordinator with Edison High School. Kelsey Massey, who's a career readiness coordinator at South High School. Lisa Dornacker, a career readiness coordinator at Patrick Henry High School. And then I believe we have Jeff Tollefson, who is the president and CEO of the Minnesota Technology Association on this call too. So thank you everyone for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of this discussion. So as I mentioned earlier, the goal of this roundtable is to raise awareness about the many opportunities for Minnesotans of all ages in tech careers. Specifically, I would like to focus on the workforce of the future. So how can we get youth into tech careers, train them and prepare them to be that strong talent that's needed for the upcoming need for the technology industry. So with that, I'd like to just start out a question to the entire group so anyone can answer this. So for those watching this discussion either now or later, what has been something that you've heard about when it comes to access into tech industry? Have you heard that, gaining into access into tech industry has been something that is impossible? Has it been difficult? Like, what is one of those things that you hear over and over and over again from people that are interested in tech? Anyone can start with that.
This is Lisa Schlosser. I'll start with a report I read from current perspectives and continuing challenges in computer science education. It was a Google and Gallup report. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is they talked about students with just 1 hour of coding per week, their interest and, and understanding and feeling like it's something they can do greatly raises. And so for that 1 hour a week, they're able to start to see themselves as technologists.
Okay, thank you.
This is Sue Wallace. I think I agree with what Lisa was saying there as far as a barrier for people to feel comfortable getting into the tech industry, I think really is that they don't see themselves in tech and they don't see other people who look like them in tech. And so, reaching into the traditionally underrepresented populations in the tech industry is really important to help make them feel comfortable and show others that are in the tech industry that look like them.
I know for me, what I've heard from young people is, oh, you have to be really smart at math for those, and now I'm not interested.
Okay.
This is Kyle. I can tag on to a little bit of what Sue had said as well, just in terms of imposter syndrome and not seeing people like themselves in the tech industry. I think along with that comes the value of mentors and having someone that you can go to learn about technology and have a resource available to you.
I also think, this is Lisa, I also think that, the tech industry, just saying that is very broad. And our students are already engaging with the tech industry every day with the phone in their hand. And so I think defining what those opportunities look like when we say tech industry would be really helpful.
So then my follow-up question would be just kind of piggybacking off what Sue mentioned, Sue Wallace, saying that a lot of people do not see themselves in tech industry. Would you consider the tech industry currently to be an open and inviting industry? If people are not seeing themselves in tech industry, do you think that the industry is working towards changing that narrative for those individuals? If you think that there's still, considered to other industries a more closed off industry, how do we start to change that? How do we start to let individuals that are interested in a career in tech know that, they have those possibilities, there are those openings. It doesn't matter where they're at now, they can eventually become a tech professional? How do we start to change that? And that's, once again, is open to everyone on this roundtable discussion.
I think one way is to expose to the industries and collaborate and bring the youth to the industry as like a job shadow or a job fair within the industry to expose them, because like many have said already, a lot of our young people do not see themselves in those tech jobs, but then there's such an array of tech jobs starting from the front to the back of the office that they have just never, some have not been exposed to or even know about.
One of the things we do with Technovation Minnesota is that it's not just building tech, but it's also building entrepreneur skills. So they have to build a business case and a pitch. And one of the things we've seen is that a lot of the girls, maybe coding isn't quite their thing, but they're getting exposure to tech, and they'll discover that I really love doing the branding or the pitch video, which is still tech related. So it's finding sort of those different niches that have a tech flavor to them, but starting to help them understand that tech is in many, many different disciplines and career choices.
This is Jeff Tollefson. I would also say that experiential learning is so important in information technology, and that's where we're fortunate to have a number of nonprofits in our community, groups like Genesis Works, that are providing meaningful senior year internships and providing 1,000 hours of work experience, paid experience, that really helps students see a place in the world of technology and really feel supported on that career pathway.
I'd like to add on to kind of what Jeff said there about experiential learning. I think I feel like one of the hallmarks of the tech industry, and that again is a broad term, is urgency. We always see new things happening. We see, new positions that we can't even imagine happening every single day. And with urgency comes the same old thing being done again and again, which I think perpetuates, an overwhelming whiteness and overwhelming maleness in the industry. And I think, the more the industry can pause and look at ways to lower barriers, create those experiential opportunities, create paid, entry-level opportunities that help people get those experiences. And I think the nonprofits doing the work are doing a great job. And I think there are certainly some companies that offer those positions, but I think the more we can open doors, the more students will benefit from the overwhelming success of this industry.
So Andrew, just kind of piggybacking on what you said. So what I've heard from several people is there's still these silos. Now, although from this conversation there are doors that have opened, businesses are starting to work with a lot of the trainings in schools. There's still a feeling that businesses and the K through 12 educators, there's still that disconnect. There's still not a really strong connection. So for the educators here that represent the K through 12, what can businesses do more to outreach? Do you feel that businesses can put together a stronger bond or connect stronger to you guys? What are you needing? What are you seeing? Do you feel that you're being left out of the conversation when it comes to building a career pipeline or pathway for youth into these tech careers?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this. Yusuf Abdullah, principal at Henry High School. And I appreciate that question, because as I agree with what everyone said here, but I find myself getting stuck with thinking about careers and what are employers doing and what are opportunities when I see a group of students, a significant group of students who have to navigate through the K-12 education system that just doesn't work for them. And so as they're going through the K-12 system, Yes, we always have that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Yes, we have internship opportunities. Yes, we have this and this and this. But you see the people, what we say, only the strongest survive, kind of serve, we say they're resilient, and that person, they step to the top when you just abandon a whole group of people who have just as much skills as the next person, but just got into this situation in the K-12 system where they're just exhausted, trying to pass a class, exhausted of, just life in general. And so when you do have opportunities, and I know Lisa's on here, we have opportunities, it's the same old kids taking advantage of those opportunities, and we just left the population behind. So how do you get, so when you talk about co-creating, we have this term right now in the education system called coach-sustaining pedagogy. How do we co-create curriculum within the classroom with our industry folks, with our teachers, with our students, with our families, so that they are able to see themselves, and not just see themselves, be themselves, and thrive through the system, so that any career opportunities is they have access to. But right now, just the K-12 system and in general is exhausting for the adults, exhausting for the students, and by the time they graduate, they're like, I don't know what the heck I want to do, or where I want to go, and who I want to be.
So, Yusuf, I'm sorry. So do you feel that it would help for employers to connect more with the high schools, with you, with the career readiness team, to really help develop a plan to make it less exhausting for students, for teachers, kind of help with developing that explore career, that beginning of that career pathway. So, by the time they are seniors, they are aware of, what it takes to be in a tech career, and they can start on that journey instead of waiting, years after they graduate. It's never too late, but, the goal is to get them while, they still are in that education mindset and they're in school. So, I mean, is that something that you would agree with? If not, why? If so, why?
I do agree, and I think it starts before high school, but I do agree. I do think that with all that goes along with just getting through school, K-12 education, how do we provide stipends? Because if a kid has to choose between a job and going to this program, I'm finding that happening in my own household. They want to make some money. So how do you make sure that they're gaining these skills, they're getting these opportunities, and also putting money in their pockets as they're developing and growing?
Thank you. And so I know that we have a few people that haven't spoken yet, so we'd like to give everyone a chance to talk. So Nneka or Ryan or Ann, if you wanted to maybe give some of your thoughts on what we've been discussing so far.
So hi, this is Nneka Abdullah. One of the things that I've found is a barrier is that sometimes in those industries, the adults that are in that situation expect little adults to show up to the workplace, and no one is born knowing how to just show up and go to work. And I feel like there's opportunity to develop those types of skills that help a young person learn what it takes to be successful in a career, navigate that system as well. Because once you leave K-12, there's a whole nother system, to navigate. And I feel like sometimes they're discouraged by what they're bringing to the table. They feel like maybe that's not enough. And I think as adults and as people with these opportunities, we gotta make sure that they do know that what they are bringing to the table is enough. And then how do we build upon the skills that they do have?
So I know that in addition to technical skills, soft skills are also, or essential skills, depending on what you want to call them, are also essential. A lot of tech employers have mentioned that they want people to come with soft skills. So the soft skills are, workplace behavior, attendance, showing to work on time, things like that. Are those skill sets that can be acquired or learned while students are in school, the K through 12? And then if so, do you have an idea from employers as to, what skill sets, what soft skill sets they need or they're looking for their candidates or employees to have by the time that, they become employers, if that makes makes sense. I mean, I think, what I'm trying to figure out is, is there a need to increase the level of collaboration between employers, technology, trainings, schools, and then also the K through 12 education. Once again, it just seems that there's still some silos that are there, although, we're working towards, collaboration. So Lisa, if you want to go ahead and comment.
Yeah, I heard you mention a couple things, regarding soft skills in the workplace. You mentioned behavior and attendance. I think that comes with a lot of assumptions depending on the workplace culture and climate, but also going back to what Yusuf mentioned about our students and being exhausted through the K-12 system. They are expected to show up, they are expected to communicate, they are expected to meet, some of our behavior expectations. At the same time, I think one of your follow-up questions to him was, do employers in the tech industry need to be better connected with principals, better connected with college and career center staff? We'd really love to see you connected with our students so that when students are 15, 20 minutes late because they have to take 3 buses, or they do have to call off for a family emergency because they are responsible for their siblings. Knowing the trajectory that our students want to get to, but understanding what the barriers are that are in place that prevent them from meeting some of those behavior expectations in the workplace, I think would be really valuable to further understanding what our students are experiencing right now.
Yusuf, I see your hand is raised. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm going to nitpick a little bit because we're talking about skills and soft skills, and so let me be who I am on this call. I find that the adults still need to work on those skills, and so we're challenging students to come in with a set of skills or have these essential skills when our adults still are struggling with getting to work on time, struggling with customer service and relatability, struggling with their perception of what other people should do and not really being self-reflective. So in order for us to be able to prepare our young people for the work in the industry, we have to make sure that our people that we're trying to be or be like are models for those type of skills. So we can't be hypocrites, as we're saying, these essential skills or soft skills when some of the adults are still struggling, but still making 6-figure salaries.
Okay. So just want to once again make sure everyone has an opportunity to speak. So Ryan or Ann, if you want to chime in on anything that's been discussed so far, that'd be great.
Hi.
Yes.
This is Ryan Weber. I think for the K through 12, I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs. I was a computer science major in college, but did programming in high school and published web pages. But I ended up moving into a career really as an entrepreneur and a product manager and an innovation leader and practicing discipline practices. I love the idea of gaining more exposure to the innovation method, like processes, entrepreneurship practices, best practices, because I think a lot of people have a passion to start a business, and finding that the passion is super important. And a lot of entrepreneurs come from different backgrounds with different skill sets, but and I'm encouraged by some of the I know some of the schools are doing this already, but I think if we can get that more widely out there, it'd be better. Even in the state, we now have some, with Launch Minnesota, some practical or some training programs for lean startups, for example, that is actually starting to become offered in high schools that are partnering with some of the one of the programs we helped start even. But I think with the younger, the other thing, I think with the student, there's a lot of extracurricular, programs that are available for more technical training, like Jumpstart is a high school robotics. We've got we host the largest competition in St. Cloud every year, nationwide for Jumpstart groups, and it's really exciting when you go to it. And I think those experiences are, it might be, especially around the state, like you don't have those programs as many as we have in the Twin Cities. and so if we can get the word out about for the people, there may not be as many technical, especially at a young age, as many people that want to be a programmer, but if we can encourage these programs that are more extracurricular just by making them people aware about them, I think that might be, a good approach too, and encourage it almost like we encourage high school athletics, just keep encouraging, those programs and nurturing them. But and then celebrating, school, people that are participants in those programs. But the other thing I think is I really like what they said about bringing people in with different, with career pathing, helping people, learn about different occupations within technology companies. I mean, every company is becoming almost every company, you could argue, that's building products is becoming, technology driven innovation, and really technology is disrupting a lot of industries. And so there's, for me, there's a lot to understanding how to use technology, but also understanding how to work in an adaptive environment. Markets are being disrupted, faster than ever, and we have to learn to be able to be, that's why entrepreneurship, it is a skill of teaching adaptability in some of these design skills that they really will help you. I mean, I've worked in nonprofits, with nonprofits where we've had to think more, about a difficult, a structured way of how do we, we want to reposition or re-strategy. It's sometimes the same, innovation practices are being leveraged by non-tech companies and so it's more of a focus, I think, on, also on innovation, for those, and there's a lot of jobs in tech companies related to using those skills, but if we can continue to inspire that, and I think that's part of what maybe, I see more, I think more, again, some of these programs are relatively new, even for, professionals, like some of the lean startup programming. But if we could get, I've seen high school students that we've had interns as a venture capital fund with students in high school that, they've got accepted into Stanford, and they've used their summers and really pursued practical experiences, to train on, design or engineering. And if they blow you away, and one of them, they got offered a job at, Tesla before they even after their first year of college at Stanford, they were out as a product manager. So we have some students that are really taking advantage of what the programming that you might consider to be for adults, and they're just finding their own path. And so I think it's really encouraging to see that, but I think how do we get more youth, like Mini Bar, that's an exceptional event. It's very grassroots and very experiential, and there's something there for everybody. It's an unconference, but we have started to see more youth show up for that. But I think if you can get people exposed to that, I don't know if you've heard about that, but Mini Bar, it would be great to see more people, you see that continue to flourish. Yeah.
No, that's great. Thanks. So Jeff Tollefson with MinTech, question for you. Do you see the Technology Association helping to build different programs and career pathways for youth throughout Minnesota? Is that something that's on MinTech's radar?
Yeah, maybe not so much, Adesiji, that we would be building programs. We want to partner with and support those programs by bringing the tech employers that we work with to the table to be able to help those organizations succeed. That said, we do have some programs that we manage, some in partnership with DEED, like the SciTech internship program. And we have another initiative underway with a coalition of 12 CIOs from major companies, something called the Twin Cities Tech Inclusion Alliance that just kicked off, really addressing how do we get more of our Black and Latina neighbors into the world of technology and diversify our tech workforce in a more impactful way. So we want to continue to support those things. And the reason it is so important is that we really face a challenge over the next decade as a state of developing the digitally skilled and fluent workforce that our employers need and our state needs for continued success. There was recently a CompTIA report that looked at the next decade of 2020 to 2030. And while Minnesota currently ranks 18th in terms of the level of tech employment we have as a state, over the next 10 years, our rate of growth is 46. So we are not going to be growing, at least according to this study, our tech workforce at a level that our business community needs. And it's not so much of a function of lack of demand for talent from businesses, is we're not really producing the supply. There is another statistic that I found very telling that came out last fall from a group, code.org, that ranked Minnesota 50th out of 50 states in terms of the percentage of high schools that offer a computer science curriculum at only 19%. The national average is 47%. So if we're not producing potential software developers that have access in high school, they're not going to take on a computer science program in college, nor are they likely even to go to a boot camp and learn how to code. So we've got a lot of things that we need to address as a state if our innovation economy is going to continue to succeed. And it's all around driving more talent into the tech field.
Thank you. Anne, you have your hand raised?
Sure. All right. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. I haven't wanted to interrupt the important conversation. It's really helpful to hear from our education partners. And I just wanted to share a little bit. I know today's focus is on youth. There's so many aspects to the IT tech pipeline that we could talk about. But so just wanted to share a little bit about what Health Fairview is doing in terms of introducing youth to tech careers. We typically at this point don't have many entry-level openings, but we know that that is certainly, you know, something that's always subject to change. But as an academic institution, thankfully, our IT leaders are really committed to helping to train and provide those first experiences for our future workforce. So we work in particular, I know Genesis Works has been mentioned, Right Track and Step Up for high school internships. Those are some of the programs that we work with. I know we have a number of Genesis Works interns with us right now. We work with we have college level internship programs, a fall winter program with a grant, thankfully from the city of Minneapolis, the Tech Hire Grant in partnership with Augsburg College, which provides those experiences to diverse, many times first generation college students. There's a number of grant requirements that the candidates have to fit within. Those are paid experiences. And then we have our summer internship program where this summer we're hiring 12 IT interns. And we did last summer in the pandemic as well. I know when many employers understandably had to cancel or pull back on their internship experiences, we pulled together our first remote internship opportunity, you know, made sure to provide the computers and everything to the students. So those are some of the opportunities we have for youth in particular, and we also certainly whenever we can, work with training programs like I see Sue on this call with CompTIA and IT Ready. We've had a long-standing partnership with them, and so just really our IT leadership is committed to help be a part of training our future workforce as an academic institution. So really appreciate the opportunity to be here and hear everybody's feedback today.
Thank you. Kelsey.
Sorry, I'm in school today, so I'll take this off for right now. I just want to make sure. Oh, am I frozen? Oh, no.
We can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So one, I think I'm grateful that Anne brought up kind of some of those programs that I think a lot of my colleagues on here are really familiar with, like Genesis Works, Step Up, all of those great things that students, high school students in particular, have the access to, you know, be participants in. I think what's really tough right now is we keep talking about experience for these students. And really the key to getting that experience is to having these employers that are here, you know, reaching out and participating in those established programs so that we can have more internship opportunities for these students to access IT and tech fields that they might not see in the day-to-day that they have in high school. Of course, I would love to see more of these programs available in all of our high schools, right, to be able to give students more access to these things. But ultimately, we're also dealing with curriculum on the end of the district where we have to, adhere to those standards so students are able to earn their diplomas and ultimately be able to obtain these workforce opportunities. But I think, again, that big part that I really want to highlight and I really want to stress to any employer that might be on this call is if you can in any way be a supervisor, connect with me and Lisa and Andrew who are in the high schools to share the opportunities, or if you just have questions about these programs and want to be able to interact with students in an experiential way, that's going to be the best way for students to be able to have access to this. And I really can't stress that enough, especially to just, in my own personal situation. I am a Step Up alumni. I 100% work in education today because of my Step Up job and because of my supervisors who supported me. And so I think being able to see those employers come through and provide that learning experience, but that mentorship piece that is so key to be able to help with those soft skills that are so necessary as they get ready to graduate and enter the workforce. So that's the big thing I want to stress.
Thank you. I think, and with the permission of everyone on this group is one of the follow-ups is to maybe just share you guys' contact with everyone. I think it's really important that, especially for the career readiness individuals and the high school principals, to really connect with MenTech and with these trainings and these employers and really get that conversation started. As Jeff mentioned, SciTech Experience is a good program, but they do focus on college students, and it's how do we get the employers to start connecting with those K through 12 representatives to really get the students to start thinking about a career in tech. And maybe, they might not be the best at math now, but it might just take a couple of classes for them to get to where, they need to be. So, and then also, to be aware that DEED currently does have a tech training grant, an RFP that's out there that is aimed at, training individuals from the BIPOC community into tech. I hate to say this, unfortunately, we are at the end. We didn't even get into diversity and inclusion in tech, and that really wanted to do that. I mean, this is a conversation that could go on for an entire day. So with that, I do want to thank everyone for being a part of this. We'll hear from Deputy Commissioners Warfa and McKinnon on some closing remarks, and then that'll be it. So, Hamse or Warfa, go ahead.
Thanks, Adesewa. No, I'll just keep it brief. Thank you so much. It's such an insightful conversation. I do want to emphasize the RFP for the tech training pilot. We have extended the timeline towards the end of the month. I think April 30th is the deadline now. So there's additional few weeks for you to review and see if it's a fit. This is, as Adesewa said, would love to continue this conversation and ideation with you to build the ecosystem for our state, so I just want to say thank you for your time, and I look forward to reconnecting with you guys soon. Kevin, do you want to, any closing remarks from you?
I would just say appreciate all the comments today. Thank you so much for participating.
All right. Have a good day and have a good weekend.
So with that, yes, thank you very much. And I will make sure that if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me, and I will make sure that information is exchanged with everyone so you guys can continue the conversations. And this definitely will not be the last of this conversation that we'll have on tech. So thank you very much, you guys. You guys have a good day and have a good weekend.